From the outside, everything looked perfect. The sunlit Instagram feed, the matching mother-daughter outfits, the flawless makeup, the contagious smile, the inspirational captions. To her 72,000 followers, Madeline Grace Carter was the image of joy, resilience, and motherhood. She was the single mom who made it, the woman who turned hardship into hashtags, struggles into sponsorships, and tears into tutorials. But behind that radiant smile was a secret so dark, so unthinkable that when the truth came out, the world wasn't just shocked. It was horrified. Madeline lived in the heart of Charlotte, North Carolina. Her modest two-bedroom townhome was always impeccably staged, like a photo shoot waiting to happen. Inside, everything was color-coordinated, from the throw pillows to the baby's bibs. Her daughter, Ava, was the star of every video. Big hazel eyes, golden curls, and an angelic laugh that melted hearts. At just 18 months old, Ava had a fanbase of her own. Brands sent free toys, baby clothes, and strollers just to have Madeline post a picture with their logo in the background. To the world, they were inseparable. Madeline was always writing captions like, "She saved me from my darkest days. Everything I do for her." But to those who knew her before the fame, before the filters and followers, the picture was more complicated. Because before Madeline became the online sensation, she was just a girl trying to escape a past filled with instability, rejection, and a desperate hunger to be seen. Her childhood was rough, bouncing between foster homes, craving love but never quite getting it. She was smart, clever, and knew how to adapt. She could read people like a book and mirror what they wanted to see. By the time she was 23, Madeline had reinvented herself. New hair, new voice, new name. The internet didn't know the girl she used to be. But even as the likes and comments rolled in, even as the brand deals started stacking up, it wasn't enough. It never was. Because deep down, Madeline wasn't chasing happiness. She was chasing validation, and she would do anything to keep the spotlight on her. Even if it meant sacrificing the one person who truly loved her unconditionally. It started subtly. Ava, once so lively and giggly, began to show signs of fatigue. She wasn't eating like she used to. Her once bubbly personality dulled into long naps and whimpers. At first, doctors brushed it off as a stomach bug or teething symptoms. Babies got sick, it was part of life. But then the vomiting began. Random, violent episodes that would leave her limp and pale for hours. One emergency room visit turned into 2, then 5. Madeline, of course, was always the doting mother. Crying by Ava's side. Posting emotional updates online. Captioning photos like, "I just want my baby to feel better." No parent should watch their child suffer like this. Followers poured in with support. Some sent money. Others sent gifts. But none suspected that something far more sinister was unfolding behind the camera. Doctors ran every test imaginable. Blood work, scans, allergy panels. Yet, results kept coming back inconclusive. Ava would get better, then worse again, always under mysterious circumstances. One pediatrician, Dr. Lena Morales, began to feel uneasy. The timing of Ava's episodes felt patterned, too clean. She noticed that symptoms only appeared when Madeline was alone with Ava. During hospital stays, when under medical supervision, Ava miraculously improved. But within hours of being discharged, she'd relapse. Dr. Morales hesitated. The idea was outrageous. But she'd seen something like this before. A psychological disorder with devastating consequences. Munchausen syndrome by proxy, when a caregiver intentionally causes illness in a child for attention, sympathy, or validation. Still, accusing a mother, especially one who presented herself as so loving and dedicated, wasn't something she could do lightly. Not without proof. So the hospital made a quiet decision. During Ava's next visit, they would monitor everything, not just the child but the mother. Madeline didn't know it yet, but the perfect image she had built was about to start unraveling. The next time Ava was admitted to the hospital, everything looked the same on the surface. Madeline arrived with her usual grace. Leggings, oversized hoodie, hair in a messy bun, tears in her eyes. She clutched her baby tightly, whispering reassurances as nurses wheeled them into a private room. But what Madeline didn't know was that this room wasn't like the others. It had been discreetly outfitted with hidden surveillance. Every interaction, every feeding, every diaper change, every touch, would now be watched. For the first 24 hours, nothing happened. Ava seemed better, stable. Doctors began to wonder if they were overreacting. Then, just after 2 a.m. on the second night, the cameras captured something they could never unsee. Madeline stood over Ava's crib with a small plastic syringe, the kind usually used for baby medication. She whispered softly to her daughter, kissed her forehead, and slowly squeezed the contents into the baby's mouth. Seconds later, Ava began coughing violently. Within minutes, her skin turned pale, her lips slightly bluish. She began crying, then gasping. Madeline pressed the emergency button and screamed for help. Nurses rushed in. Alarms blared. Ava was stabilized. Madeline wept in the hallway, holding her face, sobbing in front of the cameras, saying over and over again, "Why does this keep happening to my baby?" But this time her performance didn't work. Doctors reviewed the footage. The substance in the syringe was immediately tested. It wasn't medicine. It was ipecac syrup, a powerful emetic used to induce vomiting. It had been banned from most hospitals for years. Somehow Madeline had gotten her hands on it. The pieces started falling into place. Every symptom, every unexplained illness, every hospital visit, had been orchestrated. Madeline wasn't just lying to the public. She was poisoning her own child for attention, for sympathy, for followers. It was a betrayal so cold, so calculating, it stunned everyone who had ever clicked like on one of her posts. The next morning, the hospital didn't wait. Security detained Madeline quietly in a consultation room while doctors made sure Ava was safe. The baby was moved to a different floor under protective supervision. For the first time in months, her vitals began to stabilize, a clear, gut-wrenching sign that the danger had always been her own mother. Police arrived within the hour. When they confronted Madeline, she was calm, too calm. She denied everything. "I would never hurt my baby," she whispered, eyes wide with disbelief. There must be some mistake. But the video was undeniable. They showed her the footage, her hand holding the syringe, her actions, Ava's reaction. Her entire face changed. Her voice cracked. Her eyes, once so confident and full of denial, darkened. In the police body cam footage as they cuffed her wrists, she asked only one question. "Will the news post about this?" It wasn't her baby she was worried about. It was her image. The arrest made headlines instantly. Momfluencer accused of poisoning her own baby for attention. Social media star arrested for allegedly abusing child. Ava's story, the truth behind the perfect posts. Her followers were horrified. The same people who had offered prayers and donations now felt betrayed, manipulated. They flooded her pages with outrage, disbelief, heartbreak. Madeline's mugshot, pale, tear-streaked and stripped of filters, went viral within minutes. The illusion had shattered. The smile that fooled the world had cracked. And behind it was something much darker than anyone could have imagined. Madeline's trial was nothing short of a media frenzy. The courtroom was packed every day, reporters jostling for the best angles, microphones thrust forward as if they were filming an episode of some tragic reality show. But there was nothing entertaining about what was unfolding. As the case went on, the prosecution painted a chilling picture. Madeline's carefully constructed persona on social media had been an elaborate act to garner sympathy and attention. Every post, every perfect moment she shared was a calculated effort to keep the world watching, to keep her followers engaged. While, behind the scenes, she was poisoning her own daughter for the sake of her popularity. The defense, however, was determined to claim that Madeline was a victim of mental illness, something that had only gotten worse in the spotlight of fame. They argued that she had been under incredible stress and had fallen into delusions, unable to separate her online image from reality. They suggested that Madeline's actions were a cry for help, a desperate attempt to retain control in a world where she had already lost herself. But nothing could explain away the truth. In a dramatic turn during her testimony, Madeline stood in front of the jury, a frail, broken version of the confident influencer that had once captivated millions. Her voice wavered as she confessed to everything. I didn't want to hurt her," Madeline whispered, looking down at her hands. "But I was so scared. Scared of losing it all. Scared of not being perfect. I thought if I just made them feel sorry for me, maybe I could keep the fame. Maybe I could keep being loved." She paused, tears running down her face as she gazed into the eyes of the jury. "I didn't know what I was doing anymore. I wanted to be seen, wanted to be noticed. But I didn't want her to die. I never meant for it to go that far." The courtroom fell silent. Ava's condition, thank God, had improved since the hospital incident. The poison had been cleared from her system in time, and though the child would carry scars from the ordeal, she was alive. The world was watching, waiting for Madeline's fate to unfold. The prosecution had their moment. The damning footage, the witness testimonies, the expert opinions that showed Madeline's behavior was far beyond mere mental strain. She had gone to unimaginable lengths for her own ego. They argued for the maximum sentence, life imprisonment. Her defense team pleaded for leniency, urging the court to consider her mental health issues, her history of self-destructive behavior, and her fragile psyche under the weight of her fame. But the public wasn't hearing it. Social media turned on her completely. Followers unfollowed, people called her a monster. The hashtags took over. Madeline the monster, innocent baby, motherhood gone wrong. It seemed like the entire world had realized that the woman they had once adored had been playing them all along. But was it a story of a twisted woman desperately clinging to the only life she knew? Or was it something far darker? A cold, calculating mind willing to sacrifice anything for her own success? The trial ended with Madeline being sentenced to 30 years in prison. The once celebrated influencer was now just another name in the headlines. A tragic figure who had allowed her obsession with fame and perfection to destroy everything she had. Her sentence sent shockwaves through the media. Many felt a sense of justice, while others were left wondering what had happened to Madeline, the woman who had once seemed so full of life, so driven. Was she really a monster or just another victim of a broken system that praised fame over all else? The public's reaction was divided. Some called for more awareness around the dangers of social media and the unrealistic expectations it places on individuals, particularly mothers. There were cries for more regulation, more protection for those who may fall victim to the pressures of Instagram life. Others, however, felt that Madeline deserved every ounce of punishment for what she had done to her daughter. A life sentence in more ways than one. As for Ava, the baby who had become the symbol of Madeline's downfall, she was placed into foster care, where she slowly started to heal. The road ahead for her would be a long one. The psychological scars, the loss of trust, and the memories of her mother's betrayal would be something she carried with her forever. But at least she had a chance at a future. Meanwhile, Madeline's social media accounts were swiftly shut down. All her posts, her carefully curated life, vanished into the digital ether, leaving behind a hollow trace of what once seemed like a perfect life. The irony was painful. In the end, her fame had been her downfall, and it had consumed her, piece by piece, until there was nothing left but the wreckage. As Madeline sat in her prison cell, she would no longer receive millions of likes or messages of adoration. No more brands or sponsorship deals. No more perfect photos. Just the stark reality of her actions and the life she had ruined, not only her own but her child's as well. In the quiet of her cell, Madeline could finally reflect on what she had lost. Fame, once her everything, had brought her to this point, a place of regret and silence. Ava survived. But for Madeline, the smile that once fooled the world was the same one that would haunt her in the darkness of her prison cell. A smile that fooled everyone except for the one person who mattered most, her own daughter. Thank you for watching this story of deception and tragedy. If you want to hear more gripping real-life crime stories, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single chilling tale. What do you think about Madeline's case? Was it a result of a broken system, or was she simply beyond redemption? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.